DayBreak, Chapter 2, Part 2. Spike was waiting outside the door.
Well, do you have anything to go on? Can you find the attacker?
Twilight stuffed the scroll in her bags.
Not much more than a hunch, but it's better than nothing. I'll be heading back to Ponyville at the end of the week. You should go today.
Spike wrung his hands together.
What if Celestia wakes up before then?
Then, you'll still be one of the first to know, and you can hop on the next train right away.
Twilight rubbed his back as they and Luna walked down the hall.
I promise. She's safe in the hospital. She wouldn't want you worrying over her all the time.
No, and she wouldn't want to be alone either.
He stomped a foot, and his claws made marks on the floor. He hunched his shoulders and shied away from a passing nurse.
Sorry.
Twilight walked on. She wrapped her wing around his shoulders.
Spike, I think it'll be good for you. You're gonna make yourself sick if you just stay here.
She held a hoof to his lips.
Don't say you're abandoning her. You're not. You can do so much more good going about your own daily life than standing outside her door, sending up prayers.
They came to the stairs. Twilight smiled as best as she could.
So, are you gonna go back home?
Yeah.
He looked away.
Ponyville needs a librarian, I guess.
Before going down the stairs, he waved at Luna.
Princess, I want to apologize, but I was listening at the door.
Luna frowned.
That is rude and dangerous, young dragon.
I know, but what I heard.
He shifted from all fours to his hind legs.
The mayor said, "Thus to all usurpers." I think that means you're the next target, Princess Luna.
He looked from one pony to the other.
Be careful. Both of you.
He skittered down the staircase.
I think he loves us too well.
Luna said.
It is impossible to love too well.
Twilight said.
What is that even supposed to mean? It is like you said. He will make himself sick out of worry. If he stays, he'll completely abandon his own care. He will grow weaker until he runs out of love to give, and then he'll be a mere shell.
Luna opened a nearby window.
You were right to send him away. I didn't send him away, I sent him ahead.
Twilight rubbed her foreleg as she watched Luna climb out of the window.
What are you doing?
Luna hovered beside the hospital building. She pointed her horn at the horizon.
It is time to do my duty.
She gasped as her eyes glowed white. The horizon took on a purple sheen that gradually faded to orange. The stars winked out one by one. The inky blackness of space was pushed aside by the rising sun. When the greater light was high in the sky, the moon dipped beneath the earth. Luna exhaled in a rush, her wings making slow, even flaps. She lowered herself to the ground and lay so that her trembling limbs could regain their strength. Twilight landed beside her.
Celestia would be proud,
she said.
It was beautiful. Thank you.
Luna said.
I have not practiced much beside the last few days.
They sat together on the lawn, the sun warming them in its bright rays. Luna closed her eyes and lifted her chin.
We must decide what to tell the people. We cannot hide the fact that she was attacked.
Twilight frowned.
What's to tell? She's alive, and it will bring hope. Yes?
Luna spread her wings to catch more heat.
But, if the assassin were to find out that she failed in her mission, would she not try again?
Twilight rubbed the short blades of grass with her wingtip.
I don't feel comfortable using Celestia as bait. No, I shall serve as bait, Twilight.
Luna opened her blue eyes.
I feel that Spike was right in that regard. So, is there a way to reassure the people while dissuading the assassin? Maybe...
Twilight started. She nipped at the tip of her mane.
Maybe we could tell the truth, but make it a lie.
Luna lowered her eyebrows.
I do not follow. Tell the people Celestia is alive, but tell it in a way that seems unbelievable.
Twilight framed a box with her hooves.
Tell them how well she's doing, how fully she's recovering, Tell them how much she misses being out and about, and how she cannot wait to get back to her duties.
Luna sneered.
Those falsehoods would taste sour on my tongue. Exactly.
Twilight leaned closer, pulling her mane out of her mouth.
It'll be obvious you're lying. Most ponies would want to believe that Celestia is okay, so they'll take what you say at face value. Any pony who's looking for a lie will notice yours right away. The assassin knows what she did. She knows that no pony who takes a spear to the chest is gonna be up and about so soon.
Luna's mouth dipped open.
And Hurricane will believe the opposite of what I say.
She sniffed.
When did you become a politician, Twilight?
Twilight shook her head.
I can't remember if it was before or after I sold my soul to Tyrek.
Luna gave her a startled double take.
That was a joke, Luna.
Twilight said.
Just joking.
Karen knocked before entering Caution's room. The Earth Pony Stallion lifted his head. Come in, or were you gonna do that regardless?
Probably.
Kara wheeled her intravenous strip along behind her in a cart.
We have a lead on Celestia's attacker.
Oh, great, Caution Tape said. Let me know when the kid's down and tracking Nab the Witch. Kara pulled up a chair and sat beside his bed. She looked around his room and saw a bundle of balloons next to the window. By his bedside, a pile of cards sat in various positions.
Family visited?
True enough. You'd have thought I stopped an army of diamond dogs single-handedly. From the hero's welcome I got. Kara smiled.
I thought you did that daily.
Nah, only for special occasions. He narrowed one eye. Speaking of which, what's the occasion for visiting me?
Like I said, we have a lead on the attacker.
Kara crossed her forelegs.
I want you on my team when we track her down.
Caution yawned. He winced and held his bandaged head. Whoa. You mean now, don't you?
As soon as we're on our hooves.
Kara said, and she rolled her shoulders.
You don't want to come?
They offered me 3 months to leave, not including hospital time. Caution put his hooves behind his head. After the beating we took, I'm inclined to accept. Kara's teeth snapped together.
You can't just give up!
Oi, I ain't giving up! Caution sat up. His eyes crossed from the swirling in his head, but he soon found his balance. The princess is alive and safe. That's our job, Captain. Now, I'm gonna take some well-earned time off and spend it with my family. You do best following my lead.
The job isn't done,
Kara said.
Celestia is down, and it is up to us to make sure that she gets the chance to get back up.
No, it ain't. Caution lowered himself back into his bed and drew up his covers. I'll come back when the time comes. But for now, my part's over.
I'm not gonna rest until the assassin is dead meat, Caution.
Now, you're not gonna rest until you get yourself killed. Caution put his hoof on Kara's shoulder. Don't do this to yourself. Don't go proving the pony's right. What say a soldier's job is to die? Kara scowled.
Isn't it?
Caution shook his head. No. A soldier's job is to make sure that people get to live peacefully, and the bad guys get put in their place. He let his hoof drop. Here in Equestria, at least. We're here to protect.
I failed that mission, Caution.
Kara tested her horn before grabbing a cup of water with her hooves.
I hesitated. I let the assassin, this hurricane person, hurt the ruler of our nation, and a friend, and...
She shut her eyes tight.
And she killed the ponies in our squad. She murdered them outright. How can you stand for that?
I can't. And I won't. Caution shuddered. But I ain't ready to go back yet, Captain. Sometimes, all you can do is sit back and pray that the Creator intercedes. He flashed pearly white teeth. Oh, I'm gonna get myself recharged, and then come out with hooves swinging. Don't be worrying about that. Kara laughed. She slugged his shoulder and stood.
I'll see you at the funeral then?
Aye. Caution rolled onto his side. He blinked moisture from his eyes.
Full dress uniform. It works. Our mates deserve all I can have to give.
Care sniffed. She walked out of the room, failing every attempt to wipe the gnarled frown from her face.
They do, Caution. And Hurricane will deserve everything I give her too.
Caution covered up his head with his blankets.
Just don't do anything stupid, Captain. Please.
Crowds lined the streets on a breezy early autumn day. Red, yellow, and orange leaves drifted down with every step of the hoof. A few foals ran and played somewhere behind their parents. Their laughter carried through the otherwise quiet air. Care's face was stone. Unmoving, unexpressive, solid. Her armor was polished to a shine, down to the last rivet. The purple sash of her captain's rank was draped over her shoulder and across her chest. Her orange coat and turquoise mane were hidden under the illusory white and blonde of the Royal Guard. She marched before 6 caskets in silence, save for the rattling of her armor. Caution followed close behind her, pulling the caskets with his full might. Bringing up the rear of the procession was Windblown, the Pegasus guard who had escaped the assassination with dislocated wings. He carried the banner of the Alicorn sisters with one foreleg as they walked through the streets of Canterlot. Only 3 of the 9 remained, and barely that. Caution flicked a switch on his yoke, separating the front 3 caskets from the rest. He carried them across a field to where 3 fresh graves had been dug. Luna waited for him there.
Each of the coffins holds an Earth Pony soldier. The brave souls who fell defending their princess and their country. They will be honored by their families and live on in stories told by those that love them. May they one day be reunited.
Her horn glowed as she lowered them into the graves.
Sons and daughters of the earth, return to the clay from whence you came. Bring life to the land you worked, that others may follow in your stead.
Windblown stood by 2 of the caskets. With the banner still in his grip, he nudged his burden forward with his forehead. He came to a series of stone slabs, stacked in a pyramid. Luna flew over, and again, gripped the coffins with her magic.
Each of these coffins holds a Pegasus soldier, the brave souls who fell defending their princess and their country. They will be respected by their fellows and followed in their wing beats. May they forever fly until the day they return.
She set the caskets down and lit the pyre.
Sons of the sky, return to the winds you were born into. Fly free, and remind us how much we need each other.
The caskets and the bodies within burned, and their ash filled the sky. Luna retreated from the altar, turning to the final pony. They walked together a ways, pulling the final coffin between them. They were followed by the other soldiers from a distance. They came to a series of cave openings in the side of the mountain. Care pulled the casket into one cave. Her horn glowed the same pink as her eyes, lighting the way. She and the princess found an alcove marked with a family seal.
This coffin holds a unicorn soldier, the brave soul who fell defending his princess and his country. He will be honored by history and remembered throughout the age. May he lie in eternal sleep until the time when all awake.
Luna pushed the coffin into the recess.
Son of the sun and moon, enter your rest. Light the sky with your warmest dreams and fill our hearts with the fullest of hopes.
They left the cave. Caution rolled a large stone over the entrance, ending the ceremony with a resounding crash of rock on rock. The guards lined up before Luna and bowed.
Please stand, my little ponies.
Luna waited until they were upright. At that point, she bent her knee and lowered her own head.
It is to you I must give reverence. To all of you. Without you, my sister would have fallen that night.
Her lips trembled as water dripped from the corner of her eyes.
Thank you. So much.
Care felt a lump form in her throat.
That's why we're here, Your Majesty.
Luna took a calming breath.
Caution, Windblown. Your leave begins now. Care, I think there is somewhere else you need to be.
The crowds had already dispersed by the time the guards reached the city. They returned to the barracks, removed their armor, and exchanged a final embrace. They then went their separate ways. Bronze parts clattered on the tabletop. Gears, levers, springs, casing, screws, ticking was heard all around as an earth pony worked diligently at his latest creation. He gripped a screwdriver between his lips, making small adjustments here and there, and he rubbed oil onto the joints with a cloth, then sat back.
Come on, my little beauty,
He said to his device.
walk.
His brown hoof wound the key onto the back of the machine. He set it gently on the table and released it. It ticked and talked as a thin leg moved forward at a painfully slow pace. It touched the table, and another of its four legs made the journey forward. He tousled his own unruly dark brown mane.
Maybe there's too much teeth in the one gear, too few in the other. Maybe I got them switched around.
He nudged the device with his nose. It tottered on two legs for a second, then righted itself.
Well, the gyroscope works just fine. I'd say that makes it a success.
He lowered a pair of dark goggles over his eyes and lifted a blowtorch.
And if there's one thing I've learned, there's no success that can't be made better with a second draft.
There was a knock at the door. Dinky Doo poked her head in.
Mr. Turner, there's some pony here wanting to see you.
Tell them I'm in a meeting.
Time Turner said. He opened the gas nozzle of the torch.
Tell them I'm speaking with some very important people.
Dinky narrowed her eyes.
More important than a princess?
No? No, probably not.
He pushed up his goggles and turned to her. He flicked a piece of flint across a rock absently.
What? Why'd that come to mind?
Dinky pushed the door open all the way, revealing the clock shop where she worked as a cashier.
Because the pony that wants to see you is Princess Twilight Sparkle.
The flint scratched one last time.
Prince...
The torch ignited from the spark. Time Turner held it away from his body with a yelp.
Shoot blast! Cast on you!
Dinky's horn glinted as she turned the gas valve off from across the room.
You need to be more careful, Mr. Turner.
You don't say. You really don't say.
He set the blowtorch down and hunched over his table.
Did the princess say why she paid a visit?
Dinky shrugged.
Just that it was urgent.
Urgent visits are always the most pleasant.
He gripped a gear between his hooves.
No pony just takes their time anymore. No pony just takes it easy.
His device reached the edge of the table and stopped. The ticking resumed as it switched directions.
Time Turner?
Twilight Sparkle said from behind Dinky.
Did I come at a bad... time?
Oh, of course not! Of course not!
He turned his chair around with a plastic smile on his face.
Do tell me, what brings Ponyville's favorite princess to my humble little clock shop?
Twilight Sparkle wore a warm saddle to keep off the autumn chill. She walked into the back room of Time Turner's shop and sat in the middle of the floor.
In a phrase, time travel.
Time Turner grinned.
Begging your pardon, your highness, but from what I hear, you're the only pony in this room who's time traveled.
Turner, do both of us a favor and drop the attitude.
Twilight pointed at him.
I know about what you did as a Knight of Harmony. Are you really going to sit there and deny all the work you've done?
Absolutely,
Time Turner said.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to do.
Actually, Mr. Turner, I was just about to close up shop for the night.
Dinky crossed one lanky foreleg over the other.
If that's all right with you.
A clock on the wall of his workroom, one of many, chimed a cuckoo, cuckoo as it struck 5. Time slid out of his chair and waved a hoof.
Go on home, Dinky. I'll lock up and tell your mother I said hello.
Dinky smiled, bowed to Twilight, and slipped out the front door.
That beanpole of a girl finally learned to stop tripping over her own nerves, but hasn't quite managed not to trip over Pipsqueak,
Time Turner said.
Bless the hearts.
Twilight's cheek pulled back in a half smile, which disappeared almost instantly.
What the hey is the blowtorch for? I could understand a welder, but
None of your business.
Time shoved his chair up to the table, causing his device to wobble. It creaked to a halt once the spring was fully unwound.
In fact, I don't think any of my life is your business, and if it is, it does not belong to you exclusively. I would be much obliged if you would please step out.
Twilight forced a groan of exasperation back down into her chest. With some effort, it didn't come out.
I need your help, Turner. It's a matter of life and death.
He scooped up various baubles off the table and into a plastic box. He carried it over to a shelf and shoved it into place.
Well, that's a matter in and of itself. Whose life and whose death are we talking about?
Princess Celestia's.
Twilight said.
Oh.
Time Turner's forelegs fell limp at his sides as he sat beside the shelf.
Oh. Well, that's...
He rubbed his head and pulled out a chair. He indicated another on the far side of the table.
Very well, you've got my attention. Spell it out. What happened?
There was an assassination attempt. Her injuries aren't public yet, so don't tell any pony.
Time Turner blew a long breath through his lips.
Oh, yes, because when you think of ponies who blab, I'm the first to come to mind.
I wasn't saying...
Twilight rubbed her temples.
Never mind. The thing is, she's alive, but she's hurting. We need to track down the assassin before she strikes again.
Time Turner lifted a wry eyebrow.
Time is of the essence.
Don't be a smart aleck.
I wasn't! I was being candid.
Time leaned on the table. His hoof bumped his walking machine, causing it to wobble.
I want to help Celestia. Creator knows I owe it to her, but I'm not a knight anymore, Princess. I can't do it. I can't just go gallivanting off.
I'm not asking that.
Twilight brought her hooves together.
I just want to consult with you in an area of your expertise. And believe me, you're the expert here.
Time Turner looked around his workroom. Clocks in various states of disrepair lined the walls, some in the process of restoration, and some cannibalized for parts. He settled on the one functioning cuckoo clock, ticking away.
So, what do you want to know?
We have a small lead. It might be nothing, but right now...
Twilight shrugged.
We think the assassin might be a time traveler. It is possible to travel into the future, right?
Time chuckled.
Well, of course it is! As a matter of fact, we do it all the time. We're all on a one-way trip to the future, Sparkle.
I mean, magically.
Magically assisted, of course, of course.
Time's chair groaned as he pushed it back.
Theoretically, you can go as far forward as you want.
Twilight's shoulders slumped.
Even 1,000 years?
Time Turner's back went stiff. The hairs on his back stood up.
It is very much not recommended. You can't go back.
Huh?
Twilight said.
I went back in time.
Yes, you did.
Time flicked his tail.
How much power did that take?
Twilight gulped.
Too much.
And for how long did you stay before being ripped back into the future?
About 30 seconds.
Time Turner nodded slowly. He stood up and walked around the room. He gave one broken clock more scrutiny than it really needed.
That's the thing. You can't change the course of time. You can interrupt it, and you can speed it up, slow it, you can fudge it a little, but you can't turn it back on itself without getting hurt.
Time bowed his head.
You got hurt, didn't you? How far back did you go?
Twilight licked her lips.
A week.
7 days.
Time's ears bent low.
And when you were pulled back, you aged, didn't you? 1 year for each of those days.
Twilight cleared her throat. She cleared it again before she could get the words out.
Yes.
Did any pony notice?
No.
Twilight said.
I wasn't... I didn't look my best.
But when you got cleaned up, you noticed.
He looked at her out of the corner of his eye.
You were, what, 17?
Yeah.
Her lips trembled. She took a deep breath in through her nose and let it through her mouth.
It was kind of a shock, but I got over it.
And you hid it.
Time smirked.
Makeup and illusion spells are wondrous things, are they not?
Twilight Sparkle's lip twitched.
You got hurt too. Didn't you?
Time Turner ignored her. He continued around his shop in a loop, scratching his cheek.
So, to answer your original question, yes, it is possible to travel 1,000 years into the future with a powerful enough spell, or device. It is not recommended because you'll leave behind everything you ever thought you knew.
Twilight stretched her wings.
What could drive a pony to do something like that?
Terrible things, Princess.
Time Turner said.
Blasted, terrible things.
Twilight stood up. She folded her wings against her saddle and backed towards the door.
Well, thank you for your time, Turner. You've been helpful, despite yourself.
As she reached the door handle, Time Turner spoke up.
Princess Sparkle.
He wound up his walking machine and set it wobbling across the tabletop.
If you need anything else, and if it'll help Celestia, please let me know. I do want to help her.
Twilight tilted her head with a small smile.
I'll keep in touch.
I'll be honest, I don't know if it's Dr. Hooves or Time Turner, or if they're both interchangeably the same or something like that. Either way, he is quite an ass. Anyway, I'd love to give a very special thank you to my non-asinine donators. Top donator, Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, Dresdon, Dospo, RuneScythe 9852, CourierCruz CI, Delta Omega, Ryan E. Dragonwolf, Dwight Cornell, Gaggy, Secret Moon, Tall Rasha, Starlight Glimmer, David D. Sanchez, Trey, Pokekiller Zach, Soul Dragon, Dak Britton, Joe Pierce E, and Alex F. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one.